Hey guys, welcome back to some more tips for Battlefield 6 Season 2, and today I'm gonna go over my settings that I used for this season, and hopefully this will help you as well to find the right settings for you. But I'm just gonna go over, or I'm just gonna explain the stuff that I actually changed or that I think is important because we have like 1,000 settings, so I'm not talking about all of them. And we started at accessibility. A lot of this is personal preference, but what I would recommend to turn down is tinnitus sound effects volume, because this will reduce all of the sound effects like the high beeping that comes from grenades, and this will unclutter your sound experience in game. So I can only recommend to turn this down. Then color profile is a lot of personal preference as well. The only thing I can recommend changing here is the enemy color and set it to a very bright red or a very intense red, because this way you will be able to see the red dots when an enemy is spotted a lot better above their head, and also a spotted enemy tank or vehicle in general. Then a pretty new setting is flash grenade dark mode. I have this enabled, which means that when you are hit by a flash grenade, your screen is not turning white, but instead it's turning black. Camera effects, of course, turn down motion blur, turn down weapon motion blur, turn down camera shake all the way to 50, because this will reduce how much your screen is shaking from nearby explosions, and this can really have an effect on your aim and everything. Then turn reduce sprint camera bobbing on, so your screen is not shaking as much when you're walking or running, and chromatic aberration turned off as well for a much clearer picture. Then controls hold toggle. Here I only changed a few things. So what I changed is crouch toggle sprint to crouch, which means that when I'm crouching and I start sprinting, my soldier will crouch sprint and will not stand up and then start to sprint. Then crouch slide is set to crouch toggle, and double tap crouch for sprint slide, which sounds terrible, is turned off. And these two settings in combination mean that when I'm sprinting and I only press my crouch button once, which is control for me, I do slide. I don't have to double tap it, I don't have to tap C or whatever other button this is assigned to. I'm gonna show you a little bit later how I had changed my key mappings. I can't tell you anything about controllers since I'm not playing with a controller, so this is mainly for PC. I didn't change anything here. For chat, I didn't change anything as well. Menu tutorials and in-game tutorials is off for me to unclutter my screen. And then down here at hints, I've also turned off the peek hint, the ping hint, and the mount hint. I already went into this a bit more in this guide that you can see on screen right here, that is about uncluttering your screen. So this will just remove the hints that you can peek somewhere, or that you can ping someone, or that you can mount your weapon somewhere. Moving on to gameplay, I have invert all vertical look, everything off, because I've set the invert vertical flight off as well, which automatically turns this off. What I turned off as well is the capture area outline from objectives, where you usually have this chalk outline around. It's just a little bit more immersive. I like this, so I turned it off. The vehicle control hints I turned down to small from medium, just to have it a bit smaller on my screen. Then for infantry, my mouse aim sensitivity is 25 on 1200 DPI. Vehicle mouse aim sensitivity is 25 as well. Helicopter control assist is turned off, because I don't want the game to control my helicopter, no matter if there's an input or not, but I want to be in full control of my helicopter, and that's what you have with this option. And then decouple tank turret aiming from turning. I would highly recommend to turn this on, because what it means is that with this option turned on, you can turn your tank turret from your tank base independently. So when you are turning with your tank, then your turret is not dragged with this tank, and this gives you a lot more control over your aiming and your turning inside of the tank. So you can freely aim around with the turret of the tank, and it's decoupled from the actual turning of the tank. Heading over to the HUD, I've also changed quite a few things here to unclutter my screen. So show soldier overlays and vehicle overlays and show outlines on friendly targeted soldier. I've turned all of this off. Soldier and vehicle overlays means that normally you would be able to see your squads, vehicles and soldiers through walls as well, so they're kind of painted. And for the friendly outlines, it means that friendly soldiers that you target for a revive, they will for a brief moment have a white outline around them. It's not necessary as well, so I just turned it off. And then on the advanced HUD and icon settings, I changed a few things here. So I'm just gonna quickly go over this, but I went more into detail in this unclutter video that I mentioned before. Kill feed is completely turned off for me because I'm just not interested in it. Show loot and show game mode events is off as well. Icon intensity is basically every icon that is on your screen, and the intensity is turned down to 30 for me because normally you have kind of a glow around these icons and it makes it a little less intense. Then objective icons scale, opacity when zoomed and when occluded. Try out these values if you want to reduce this and maybe you want to see a little bit more when zoomed in, especially with the opacity. I turned this down, and for the friendly soldiers as well, the scale, the opacity when zoomed in, and for the squad as well. The only thing I did not turn down, of course, are the enemy icons, opacity and scale, because these are the people I actually want to see. Then I also toned down the opacity for the neutral icons a bit, for the ping markers, for the aim-based icons and so on. Maybe just copy it and see if you like it or not. And if you want to know more about this, just head over to this other video, because that would go beyond the scale of this video right here. Then for the minimap settings, I have set the minimap size from small to medium. In my last guide it was still small, but I went to medium now because when I'm playing recon and I'm spotting a lot of people, I want to see them on my minimap, and for this I want my minimap to be a little bit bigger than it usually is. Then interior zoom is on for me. I'm not quite sure about this though, because it zooms in quite a lot, and I'm honestly trying out right now whether I like it or not. This is basically when you're getting inside of a building, then the minimap zooms in, and when you get out again, the minimap zooms out again. Can be helpful, cannot be helpful. Try it out and see if you like it. Then view distance on foot and view distance in ground vehicles, both of them upped by 1 step. So normally it's on 160, but I have upped it to 250, and ground vehicles is up to 300. Unfortunately, we cannot set these values ourselves in this game. You only have these 3 steps. So you can also set all of them to 300, so you can see as much as you can on your minimap. Right now, 250 is also okay already, but 160 is far too little. And for the crosshair and the crosshair colors, so crosshair intensity, of course, all the way up to 100, so you can see your crosshair all the time. Crosshair color is a bright green for me. I can see this pretty well, but try this out for yourself, which color works for you. Custom reticle color is on, so you can change the reticle inside of your optics now. I don't know why I set this to pink actually. I think it was just for a video, but usually this would be green as well because I just like this color. And crosshair thickness is too thick, because of course I want to be able to always see my crosshair. Then hit indicator intensity, I've turned this one down a little bit because I want to see it, but not as much. And I changed the headshot color to green, so I know when I'm actually hitting a headshot, and the kill color to a bright red. But this is of course personal preference. I also toned down the hit indicator number opacity to 80, and also the chat visibility is completely hidden. I'm skipping campaign and controller because I don't think anyone's changing anything in the settings from the campaign. And for controller, since I'm not playing with a controller, I wouldn't be able to give you any good advice. But maybe I'm gonna play a little bit more with the controller in the future, and then I can also give you some tips on this one. But for now, I don't think that would be really useful for you. So moving on to mouse and keyboard, we have the aim sensitivity again, then the control settings. Here the uniform infantry aiming is turned on, of course. The sensitivity coefficient is on 133. I think this is just a value that I got used to, that's why I keep it on this, but I think by default it's set to 178 now. Then again, we have the sensitivities right here. Field of view is at 100. This is personal preference. So when you have a smaller field of view, then your targets will appear closer and will appear bigger, but you have to turn a lot more to see what's going on around you. With a higher field of view, you don't have this problem. You see a lot of what is going on around you, but targets will definitely appear further away and will appear smaller and might be harder to hit as well. So try this out. 100 works for me, but that's a lot of personal preference. And on zoom, I have one tip here for you. I'm always binding steady scope. So when your soldier is holding breath when you aim down sights with a sniper rifle, I always bind this to the aim down sights key, which means that when you aim down sights, or in that moment you aim down sights, your soldier will also hold breath with a sniper rifle and you won't have to toggle or hold an additional button. And I think this really comes in handy, so I can only recommend to do this as well. And this also works for controllers, so you can do the same in your key bindings. Then we have the infantry and passenger key bindings. And here is the first thing actually that I changed, or I'm always changing this, is under movement. And here you have crouch hold, crouch toggle and prone hold. And here I'm always setting crouch toggle, prone hold to my left control button. And with the settings that I showed you before, with the toggle hold settings that we went over earlier in this video, it means that when I'm stationary and I toggle the control button, I crouch. When I hold it, I go prone, and when I'm sprinting and I toggle the crouch button, I slide, and when I hold it, then I'm gonna go into this dolphin dive, or however it is called. So I have everything that has to do with crouch or prone or whatever, slide and dive, everything is bound to one key, and I think that this really comes in handy actually. What I've done as well, further down the list under weapons and equipment, is that I bound switch to melee to F. So I unbound the option above and I bound this one, switch to melee to F, which means that I can simply switch to melee by pressing the F button. I don't have to hold it. And this especially comes in handy when you play Battle Royale, because you want to sprint faster when you have the knife out. And I also want to be able to switch to the knife as fast as possible. And this option allows you to switch to the knife as fast as possible, much faster than with this option up here. If you don't play Battle Royale and you don't want to sprint faster, or you're not using this sprint faster with your knife out mechanic much, then you don't need to set this. You can keep it up here. Then going to graphics, I know this is interesting for a lot of PC players, so I haven't done too much magic right here because it just works like this on my system, but I know that it might not work for everyone. So what I've done is that I basically set the graphics with this preset low. I tried medium, I tried to set some custom settings as well in here and played around with this, but at the end, if you set everything to low, the game doesn't look terrible, it doesn't look much better. When you say, oh, I'm gonna go up a little bit with the textures or whatever, it doesn't make the game look much better, that's actually worth it. But if you just go with low, it will give you the best performance and it will give you the highest FPS. Then under advanced, I actually haven't changed much here. So frame rate limiter is off. The frame rate limiter in the menu is turned on and also set to 60. Dynamic resolution scale is off. I've also completely disabled NVIDIA Reflex low latency. Now, for me, enabling NVIDIA Reflex or even boosting it causes some weird micro stutters. So when I turn it off, it doesn't have the micro stutters. When I turn it on, it has some weird micro stutters. Play around with this. If it works fine for you, definitely use it. Enable and boost. If you have micro stutters and you don't know where they come from, maybe try to disable it as well, or just go down to enable and see if it gets any better. Field of view, we already talked about this, 100 for infantry, 83, so completely maxed out for vehicles, because I want to know what is going on around my vehicle, if there's someone trying to sneak up. We already went over these settings, so motion blur all the way down, camera shakedown, reduce sprint, camera bobbing is on. Chromatic aberration is off, vignette is off, film grain is off as well. And I'm working with the borderless mode simply because I want to be able to switch quickly between the game and OBS. Then under audio, I have turned down the music volume completely to 0. It has a lot to do with me recording stuff as well, so I don't want to have any music on my gameplay. But the music is also played when you capture an objective, for example, or towards the end of a match. And this can be really distracting, and if you have it all the way up to 100, it can even like swallow the sounds of footsteps. So maybe you want to at least turn this down. If you want to hear a little bit of it, maybe around 20, 25, but I would recommend to turn this down to 0 if you don't want to have any of it. What I can also recommend to turn down is the commander voice. I've turned it down to 70 because I think at 100 it's just terribly loud and distracting. So it should be in your ear somewhere, but it should not be terribly loud and cover any other sounds that you want to hear during a match. And what also helped me quite a lot, I had never thought it would be so helpful, is to turn off the hit indicator. So this bling sound when you kill someone. This helped me so much to unclutter my sound experience in this game, and it doesn't have this kind of weird TikTok effect where there's something happening all the time and some bling and bling there and there. Sound system is Spatial 3D for me, but I would at least recommend to set this to 7.1 surround, because even with normal headphones, this gives you a lot better surround sound. If you have Windows Sonic or however it's called, I would recommend to use Spatial 3D, but you would have to set this in the sound settings of Windows. You have to turn this on. If you're using, for example, Razer Synapse and you have THX enabled within the system like I have, then you can definitely use Spatial 3D, and this gives you an even better, well, I would say it gives you an even better sound experience. I'm using night mode because I feel like this highlights the footsteps even more. I have completely disabled voice chat because I'm not talking anyways. Here's the tinnitus setting again, subtitles, and what I have enabled as well is the radio music in vehicles and also in world. The game gets a little bit more quiet because of this, but you might not be sitting next to a radio and you cannot hear the enemy running towards you. So it's just a lot of these small distractions that are happening in this game that might not make you hear any footsteps, so be sure to turn these unnecessary distractions off. And then lastly, we have system, and here I have disabled the command consoles. Anonymous mode is on for me so that I'm just appearing as a random person on a server and people cannot read my name. If you are a streamer and you want everyone else's name to be completely random who is on your team, then you have to turn on streamer mode as well. And then basically every name, the scoreboard and in your squad is completely random. And the rest, we went over this already. So minimap, radio music and scoreboard ping, everything I've already talked about. And yeah, that was it for today. I hope this was not too confusing, and I hope it helps you with a few things here and there to find some good settings for you as well. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Check out the other two videos that I recommended, so the footsteps but also the unclutter of your screen. I think that these can be really helpful to you as well. And if you enjoyed this video right here, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. I'm the Catwoman, and you are awesome.